This is our panel to talk about experiences beyond London. We have three very special guests. I have Jimmy from International Friends. We have Emma from Virgin Hotels, as well as Graham from Rabbie's Tours. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to be talking about all the different experiences people can have beyond London. We know London is a hub for American travelers, so just trying to educate people on all the beauty that the UK has to offer. From the destinations to the different properties to the various experiences, there's a lot going on. So I'm really excited to get started. What makes the regions beyond London enticing and unique for travelers visiting maybe for the first time?
I think although it's a small country, Britain is very diversified. There's so much difference in the different regions. You don't have to travel far to see different scenery and different attractions, all holding different appeal to different audiences. London has its obvious draw, but it's very easy to move out of there and see a different variety around about. Whether it's food and drink, experiences, attractions, every region has its own individual mark. Part of the remit of Rabbie's is to take people from the cities out of the cities and experience that more rural escapism. Hear the stories, see for yourself what it's like, and try and mix with locals and build your knowledge and understanding. So yeah, I think it's just diversification right across the country.
Definitely. And I think now with all the different air connections from the US to different gateways in the UK, makes it so much more accessible and easier for people to do open jaw itineraries or even skip London altogether.
Yeah, I think it's the way you can combine what's perceived as a major attraction with a hidden gem. You can literally go 1 hour one direction, you've got a major attraction. You then go 10, 15 minutes down, you've got a hidden gem. You then go the other direction, you have a major attraction. You know, whether it's Cambridge or Oxford, then Stonehenge, Bath, or Kent into Dover. That there is, within a very short distance of London, there are worldwide famous attractions. And then 15, 20 minutes away, there's something amazingly beautiful the customer wouldn't know about. And then their whole day is enhanced. They're not just getting what they wanted to see, they're getting something extra. So it really is combining the two of them and making an amazing day out with the majors and the hidden gems, really.
And Emma, I know you have two properties up in Scotland.
Yeah.
So I know there's even better connections into Edinburgh directly now from the US. And so I'm sure when you're getting American travelers visiting your hotels, their eyes are completely wide open because it's a very different cityscape than down in London.
Yeah, very different. But I think also, travelling up from London to Edinburgh is also, a really nice journey. You can often take in many other destinations on the way, so it actually works well as an itinerary. Either arriving into Edinburgh, taking in Scotland, and then going further afield, or other way round into London. That journey, even by rail, actually, you manage to take in a lot of other destinations. But yeah, Edinburgh is quite unique in its own right. Much smaller city, so a lot more walkable, very approachable for everyone. And then Glasgow is not too far away, and much to explore as well, just outside of those city centres as well.
I think what often staggers American tourists as well is they're in London and the train is just over 4 hours to Edinburgh, is that right? Just over,
much, yeah.
And it's incredibly near, I mean, it's a small journey for an American.
And a much easier journey to make as well.
Very easy to make, very
yeah.
easy to do, so much you can do in a short period of time.
Definitely.
In fact, it's all so compact.
Yeah, and that rail journey up the East Coast
Yeah, it's beautiful, yeah.
is fantastic. You're along the coast for a lot of that journey. So if you get a nice clear day, it's a great 4 hours spent.
Yeah, good way to see the country. Yeah.
And it's only 1 hour flight as well.
That's
so
true.
it's very compact.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have so many people that combine cities by rail, especially in the UK. I think a lot of people are intimidated by driving there, which of course any kind of driver guide is a great option, traveling by rail. At Avanti, we sell so much multi-destination, whether that's in one country or combining countries. So I think it's just a great service for advisors to offer their customers all these different options. So let's talk a little bit about food. I think that is such a topic that many travelers are very interested in learning more about. We have so many different, just here in Portland, so many different kinds of restaurants. And, when we travel, we're kind of obsessed about food, from the breakfast at beautiful hotels to different pub experiences, high-end restaurants. Can you tell us just a little bit about your experiencing traveling yourselves and the different regional specialties that the country has to offer?
Scotland has an amazing larder of fresh produce and everything else, and we do our very best to kind of showcase that. But I think even just going from Edinburgh to Glasgow or Edinburgh to the Highlands, you really get to see the differences in the local dishes and specialities and things. And it is becoming such a topic now. I think a lot of us, the way to our heart is through our belly, as a lot of people say, and that's very much so in Scotland, as we try to showcase the best of our produce, and that's what people really want to see and experience.
I think also it's not just the quality of it, it's the difference as well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you literally go to the Cotswolds, it's country pub lunch. If you go down to Kent, it's vineyards. If you go to the cities, it's world-class restaurants. I mean, the food tours in the UK now are amazing. We just launched 2 of our international friends, 2 new ones next year, one into the Cotswolds for pub lunches, one into Kent for vineyard and wine tasting. And it's both short distances, both completely different experiences, but both now top quality, because the food in Britain now, it really is a first-class tour product to go out and experience the food and drink.
Yeah.
I think there's a misconception in bygone days that we didn't have quality food and produce, and that's seriously changed in the last 20 years or so. Yeah. Sustainable produce. We are an island nation. We're big on farming, but we're massive on seafood.
Yeah.
And I think there was a study a couple of years ago by one of the big food magazines, Bon Appetit or something, that said that something like 60% of the shellfish in Spain and Italy in restaurants came from Scottish waters. So we have an abundance of resources there for food and of drink, of course. And I think people are starting to see that now more and more with their experience when they visit.
I don't think we really got it as an industry 20 years ago. You didn't really get how important the food was. You maybe took it for granted. You didn't realise it was part of the product, part of the experience so much. Now, everybody gets it. It's a key part, and it's an addition to someone's holiday to make sure the food and drink is correct.
And the number of Michelin star restaurants has jumped up hugely in the last couple of years, which drives up every level.
Yeah.
I think also there's the experience around food and drink, not just eating it, but I think if you think about drinks, particularly in Scotland, whiskey, there's so many distilleries where you get to really immerse yourself in how whiskey's made and understand it, and even gin as well. Gin is a big thing as well in Scotland.
Craft brewing as well has exploded as well, which is a worldwide phenomenon.
The eating and drinking of it, it's about how it's made. You can really get into the detail of that and experience it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that really love to meet the maker as well. And in some of these smaller towns and villages, it's just so much easier to have that access, and there's a lot going on in terms of guide experience. We've talked a lot about that already. How do you feel that when the guides really get animated and bring people to their local pub, how do you think that really affects and recharges travelers' emotions when it comes to traveling?
It's a piece about connections, isn't it? It's bringing things to life for people, telling the story. People come with a certain expectation. They may be trying to trace family roots or have connections, and the guide plays a massive role in bringing that to life and colouring that for them. One of the other things that we tend to find in part of our model at Rabbie's is that when we're doing extended tours, we tend to use bed and breakfast establishments more so than hotels. And with that, you're pretty much living with a local family, and they'll look after you, but they'll engage with you as well and tell you stories. So your tour's extended beyond the time on the coach or the attraction you visit. It's actually the next morning when you're meeting the family that own the bed and breakfast, and they're delivering messages and stories to you as well. So it's a full immersion and extension of the experience.
I think it's exactly what Rabbie is, they're bringing it to life. And what Rabbie's and International Friends do with the small groups is you can bring it to life for everybody. If you're on a big coach, you can't bring it to life for 50 people. But if you're on a small group tour with a fantastic guide, each customer has the opportunity to ask the questions they want, to be involved in the day. Each customer can get out of the day what they want. They can engage constantly with the guide. And that's what the guides need to do. They need to bring it alive for every single customer on the tour. And if you're on a small group and you're combining all of these amazing sites and these beautiful unknown sites, the customers will ask questions. They want to know what they're seeing. They want to know what's behind it. They want to know the stories behind it. And small groups with fantastic guides can do that.
Yeah. Well, and I have one more ask of my guests today, which is, do you have any questions for your fellow panelists?
I would have one for Emma. When are you launching hotels in England?
Yeah, we're working on that one. We just opened in Edinburgh and Glasgow. We are keen to open in London. There's nothing that I can disclose yet, but we're working hard on that, but hopefully soon. We do have properties all around the US, but Edinburgh and Glasgow are the only two in Scotland at the moment.
We just asked Jimmy, I'm intrigued by your new wine tours in England. At the moment, people maybe don't associate England with wine, but from what we know, it's growing really fast and it's on huge popularity. And maybe just explain a bit more about that.
Yeah, it's a product down in Kent, which they call the wine garden of England. So coming on the back of the success of obviously Scottish whisky, then you've got gin. The wine, the sparkling wine in particular in England, because the soil is the same as the Champagne region, and now the temperature has gone up a degree or two, it's the perfect location to grow sparkling wines. So Gusbourne Vineyard is the main vineyard we're choosing to work with. They're the most decorated vineyard in the UK. And it is a food and drink tasting tour that we're going to take them out of London, back to the major attractions and hidden gems. So we could drive past the White Cliffs of Dover, Dover Castle, and then into the vineyard for a three-course meal of seasonal local produce and wine tasting to go with each course. And it's not something we would have launched 10, 15, 20 years ago. But now the standard of product of food and drink in the UK, we feel we can confidently give to a customer a first-class experience selling that.
Well, I'd love to just wrap it up and thank our panelists for your time today. It's been amazing getting to know each and every one of you. Thank you so much for all you do for our customers and their travelers and everyone here in Avanti.
Thank you.
Thank you.